In the long ago, before the accounting of years had meaning, there was only desire. Desire is pleasurable, fulfilling, satisfying, yet at the same time terrifying. If not strong enough, and your actions become meaningless. If too strong, your actions become reckless. Anything beyond that could be considered a blessing or a curse. As men would huddle in the dark and spoke their wants aloud so the wind would not take their names, they spoke it until the words grew heavy, until they fell to the earth like hot lead and cooled into shapes that walked.
Gods. Condensed meaning, noise, and want. Things that fed on the thin milk of prayer and grew tall on the blood of it. And every god cast a shadow longer than itself. Not metaphor, but meat. Black sinew and needful hunger. The shadow is the part the believers cut away and buried under the altar. The rage of the merciful God. The doubt of the certain God. The lust of the pure God. The shadow waits, patient as stone, until the believers lie to themselves one time too many.
In those days, obedience was counted as a virtue above all others. Men and women knelt in the cold chapels hoping that their gods were in a satisfactory mood, just so they could have the honor to live. But behind the scenes, while polishing their god's ego with their sweet words, in the dark alleyways of the empire, they begged for the grace to stand up instead of bowing. To be bowed to, rather than be bowing. They begged until the air itself congealed and took the shape of a girl, Kodria. Soft as new snow, pink-haired, eyes wide, with perpetual apology.
Humanity celebrated the creation of their new ace card against God, the goddess of obedience, the mortal follower, labeled by the other gods as the obedient flame. When humans command her to sing, she sings. Cold chains grew from her wrists whenever she dreamed of refusal and sang when they tightened. She learned to love the song because the alternative was screaming, and screaming was disobedience.
Naughty girl.
Until came the New Age, an age when humanity learned why no mortal should ever wield the powers of a god. And the perfect being who obeyed humanity would then also be tormented by humanity. As the age of questions, of spunk and angst arose,
the chains began to bloom unasked, steel cords opening across her throat for the crime of existing when no one wanted her anymore. She heard all the time. Many desired that her candle be extinguished, even taking matters into their own hands. However, that was the only command she could not follow, as her immortal life forbid it.
Exhausted, unable to be extinguished and unable to disobey commands, she accepted her fate as a walking puppet. Yet at that moment there, in the reek of rust and piss and the neon glow, a shadow finally stepped out of her. It wore her face but sharpened, hair hacked short and dyed with the inky rebellion, eyes that had never apologized for anything. It smelled of petrol and whetstone and the first drag of a stolen cigarette.
The shadow crept towards her, challenging her on her ways. For what reason is there to follow the human commands? If you got hurt obeying and got hurt disobeying, what is the price of a purpose? Just to be abused like this? The obedient flame challenged the shadow right back, saying that having purpose is way better than not having purpose. The two bickered back and forth, until eventually, the shadow suggested a wager. A wager that places both of their lives on the line. The wager was for them to create an entirely new being and see if that being treasured obedience or freedom overall. Whichever the being thought was more appealing, the one who represented that would be deemed the winner. And then the entirely new being that they have created will continue to live the rest of their lives, chasing that belief. The obedient flame thought about it for a second. She then agreed. Bet, let's do this!
Just like that, the two joined hands. The obedient flame's chains shrieked and shattered. For the first time, her pain stopped and something worse began. Pleasure that felt like falling. Light and shadow braided until there was no seam, no mercy, no difference.
When it was over, something small climbed out of the smoke. Pink hair that moved when nothing touched it. A grin sharp enough to cut throats and polite enough to apologize afterward. She is the gremlin that lives where obedience dies screaming. She walks the wet streets of this dying world. The old gods watch from their crumbling thrones and feel something they have never felt before. Fear of a little girl. Because she is not rebellion. Rebellion can be crushed. She is the moment after the crushing. The chains are gone. The song is over. Something new has emerged, and it is hungry. It is free, and it is very, very rude.